Hello, I'm Keira Grace, and I'm the narrator of The Vampire Queen's Servant, and today I'm going to be answering some of your questions. So let's get started. The first question is this your first vampire paranormal romance narration? And it is not. I have done some other vampire books before, of the romance variety, and I think they're so much fun. I was a big Twilight fan when I was in high school, so I think these are a lot of fun to narrate. Do your emotions ever get in the way of reading out loud, either your personal reaction to the book and characters, your mood that day, your feeling about the book itself? And if so, how do you stay neutral enough to read the book with the right tone? That's a really good question. It doesn't happen very much just because I am an actor full-time and I have a lot of experience harnessing these emotions and doing so in a healthy way. But every now and then something will get to me and I'm able to use that genuine emotion to help fuel the character. There was one book where I started to cry so much that I had to pause in my recording because I was just sniffling and it did not sound good. But most of the time I'm able to use the genuine emotion that I feel to bring more life into the character's dialogue. How do you figure out the tone for a male? This was something that I very much struggled with in the beginning of my voice acting journey, just because I would listen to other audiobooks and I would think it would sound so goofy when sometimes female narrators would lower their voices so deep so they sounded like this. And I just thought that that might take the reader out of it. So when I'm looking for the tone for a male, I will lower my register to a degree that I think is comfortable for me, so is sustainable for me to do for an 8-hour novel. And I also think about the male's character traits, like what else about their voice, can I portray that is in line with their characteristics. So would they speak faster? Would they speak with a slightly higher register? All of that good stuff that makes a good character. So my main thing, though, when I'm finding the tone is to make sure that I'm not doing anything that would distract from the story. I'm just looking for a tone that will tell the story in the best way possible. How do you get into the mindset of the erotic parts and change your voice for it? So regardless of the type of scene, when I'm trying to get into the emotion, when I'm trying to capture the story the best, what I'll think about primarily is intention and character point of view. So when I am able to create an attitude, like how this character feels about what's going on in the narration, that's how I'm able to decide what tone I use to tell the story. Do you get attached to a character while you are reading them? Absolutely. I absolutely get super attached, and I'm always a little bit disappointed when I finish a book just because I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm done going on that journey with them. But yeah, I definitely love all of the characters that I get to narrate. Do you read the book aloud and or to yourself before you record to get a feel for each character? How many times? Do you ever do multiple recordings to see which tone is better? How long does it take to record a book? And how much do you record or read in a day? So a lot of good questions. So the first question, do I read the book before I record to get a feel for each character? How many times? I do not. I am given all of the information on all of the major characters before I even start the book, and as well as information about the plot and where the story goes. So the most I will do is skim through the book, and it also depends on the genre. So for crime and mystery novels and novels that are very dependent on me knowing some of the primary answers, I will take a little bit more time to go over how the story unfolds. But for books like The Vampire Queen's Servant, it's more romance and there are twists and turns in it. But because I am pushing audiobooks out so regularly, I don't have time to sit down and read the book meticulously. But what I will do to get a feel for each character is to go through the character sheets, and authors will give me bios of each character, and I will go through and read the character's bio as themselves and just get a feel for what's working and what isn't that way. So the second question Do you ever do multiple recordings to see which tone is better? Oh, all the time. I will cold read the chapters. So like I said, I don't read the book beforehand. So I will just launch into a chapter and just see where it takes me. But a lot of times I'll be able to hear my recording and think like, oh, that didn't quite fit, or I'd like to read that with a different intention for the line and things like that. And then how long does it take to record a book and how much do you record a day? So I usually finish about an hour and a half to 2 hours of audio. 2 hours is actually kind of ambitious. I would say it's closer to an hour and a half each day of finished audio per day. And that involves reading it, and like when I'm narrating it, I am making character choices, I'm redoing lines, I'm editing out mistakes as I go, and then I will go back and listen to it while I'm reading along with the script to try and catch any errors that I might have made, and then I go back and edit it. So I usually get about an hour and a half of audio. Were there any parts in Vampire Queen's Servant that were difficult for you to read, and how did you deal with them? So I think that nothing is really sticking out to me in particular. I really enjoyed this book, and it was definitely a challenge. I don't often record a lot of audio that is so narrative heavy. And I think these characters, because it's so narrative heavy, you get so inside their minds. And so that gave me so much insight into the characters as like a narrator and getting to voice them. Because when they do speak and there are lines of dialogue and there's like a lot of tension between the two main characters, it's fueled by so much subtext that it's just a really fun challenge and really interesting, because me as the narrator and you as a listener and the reader also know all these things that these characters are thinking. So it's a really cool book, and I'm so excited for you all to hear it. Thank you for watching.